Welcome to You're Doing It Wrong. I'm Coach PJ. Today I'm going to talk to you about warming up. Most people go to the gym and they either don't perform a warm-up at all or they're warming up really ineffectively for what they're about to do. I don't even like to call warm-ups anymore because a lot of my athletes even show up and they say, I'm already warm, I had the heat on in my car. So I call it movement prep, so that they can understand that they are preparing their body for what they are going to do in that training session. And when you follow these simple principles that I'm going to give you, it's going to help you get a lot more out of your training sessions and reduce the risk of injuries when you're in your training. So we've all seen people who show up at the gym, they either don't warm up at all, or they grab a nice 10-pound plate and they do a couple of these, and then maybe some of this, and then they jump on the bench press and they start loading up the weight. Or sometimes we have people who sit down and we get a couple random static stretches, or we hold these because we're not really sure what we're doing, and we do these kind of old school calisthenics warm-ups that we used to do in PE class in middle school. All of those things are really ineffective and they don't really make any sense for what you're about to do in your training session. So I'm going to give you my 5 key components to an effective warm-up. This is what I teach to all of my students, and this is what I use in all of the warm-ups with every single athlete that I train for every single training session. So number 1 in an effective warm-up is our thermogenic. We've got to get the heart rate up, we've got to get the blood flowing. That should be step 1 in any of your warm-ups. I personally don't like to just throw people on the treadmill or throw them on the exercise bike for 10 minutes because I think that my job as a coach or a trainer is to find a better way to get that thermogenic portion done. So I like to use simple exercises. If we're doing a running session, we might do some sort of running or transit movements, running or skipping or shuffling. If we're in the gym, we might do something really simple like a different jumping jack series to get the heart rate up and to start moving the joints through ranges of motion. So it really depends on what you're doing, but I think there's a lot better ways to get that thermogenic aspect in than just walking on the treadmill for 10 minutes. But if that's all you're going to do, that's better than doing nothing at all. Step 2 is my mobility. So now we're going to try to take all joints through full ranges of motion, and it only really needs to be the joints that I'm going to be using for whatever the movements are. So if we're just doing an upper body session, then I might do a bunch of different upper body movements, moving all my different joints through ranges of motion so that I can prepare those joints for the movements that we're going to see later in that session. If we're doing a full body training session, then I've got some very specific warm-up routines that we can go through, different types of lunge series, and all different exercises that we can use that I really like. And I've got a whole bunch of my favorites that I'm showing you in the video here that I really like to incorporate into the warm-ups for my athletes. Number 3, once we've gone through those 2 kind of basic, now is when I start to transition to another component of the warm-up. And this is something that is really going to start to depend on what you're doing in that upcoming training session. But this is when we start to get into our specificity. So we've already gone through our general portion of the warm-up, and now I'm going to start to transition into some more specific exercises. So if I'm getting warmed up for an upper body workout, let's say, this is where I might start doing some explosive med ball throws or some bench presses or something that's a little more specific to what I'm about to do. If I'm out on the field with my athletes and we're doing lateral movement that day, then we're going to start doing some more shuffles and some more specific movements that we're going to use later in that training session. The 4th component is now our activation component. In this component, I either am looking at specific muscle groups that need to be woken up for the training session. Let's say, again, we're doing some upper body stuff, and I know that my client maybe has some weak and dormant upper back or mid-back musculature, so here's where we might do some stuff to activate and wake up those muscles. Or, a lot of times what I'm trying to do here is wake up the nervous system. So we've gone through some more general stuff where we've gone slower, we've got the heart rate up, we've got the body moving, but our nervous system is still not ready to fire at full potential. So we'll do some stuff in my warm-ups where we'll do different types of jumps or medicine ball throws, something that's really going to wake up your nervous system and get everything firing on all cylinders so that you're ready for what you're about to do in that training session. My 5th component is mindset. And this is a really, really important component. This isn't broken out of the session. We don't stop and do something specific in mindset. This is incorporated into every component of my warm-up. And the mindset mindset is really important because this helps my clients, my athletes, to prepare themselves for what they're about to do, to check out all the stuff, all the baggage that they may have brought into the gym that day, and to get focused on what we need to get accomplished in this training session. And if you know anything about me and you follow any of my videos, you know how important I think intent is into every single movement that we do. There's a huge difference between people who go into the gym and who just sit on machines and go through a workout on their cell phone, texting about what they're going to do afterwards, and they don't really pay any attention to what they're doing, and somebody who goes in and they have intent and focus into every single thing that they do. So I like to incorporate that into my warm-ups. I incorporate a mindset component. Sometimes this is breathing, and sometimes this is just helping you to focus on the movements and to be mindful about everything that we're doing in that warm-up so that you can bring your focus into the gym and into what we're about to accomplish in a training session. So those are my 5 components for an effective warm-up. They don't have to be separated one after the other. Sometimes the specificity and the activation and the mindset are all worked in together, but if you want to have the most effective warm-up before your training sessions, make sure that you are hitting every single one of those components in every training session. This is You're Doing It Wrong. I'm Coach PJ. Thanks for joining me for this episode. I'll see you next time.